3. Rabbi Kaplan, welcome back.
The thing is that it's hard to say every week Asichas Chon Shel Talmidei Chachomim. The name of our series of talks is Sichas Chon Shel Talmidei Chachomim. Now, to say a drasha on a subject or on the parsha, it's possible. But once they hear that, there's so many rabbis in the world, in America and Eretz Yisrael, and every drasha is available. So who's going to want to hear Daniel Kaplan, somebody that sits in his corner, Me'achorei Tana V'Kirayim? So to say another drasha, it's not a toelis. But to say a Sichas Chon Shel Talmidei Chachomim, that's something that could interest people. And that's something unique and different, and it might have a makom. But there isn't always what to talk about Sichas Chon Shel Talmidei Chachomim. Just today, I was telling over the producer, I was saying a small story that happened yesterday, a small, minute thing that I saw on the street. And the producer was Nisar, maybe we could make a talk about it. And the MSC is, and he's right, yeah, you can make a talk about it. And the MSC is that the Zel Chochem Chazal say, Alamed Mikol Adam. And I would add that not just Mikol Adam, only everything he sees. It says we say in davening every day, Kulam B'Chochma Asisa. There's Chochma all over. And you have to just open your eyes and open your ears and pay attention to what's going on around you. Of course, if you're thinking and learning all the time, so you shouldn't pay attention to what's going on around you. There's different bechinas and different matzavim and different situations. And you walk in the street, it's not so easy. Not everybody's on the madriga of the Gedolei Olam that we're always thinking and learning. But at least, don't live in a dream world. You see things, you hear things, pay attention. Learn something from the things you see and from the things you hear. So there was something small that happened, and I thought I learned something from it. Now, before I say what it is, I want to mention in the beginning of this week, on Monday, so there was a Atzeres Tefillah Reb Tzvi Meir made. Tzvi Meir Zilberberg every half a year, in the last 5 years, he makes a Atzeres Tefillah. That means a gathering to be mispala on certain, not stam in general mispala, only to be mispala on certain things that are happening nowadays in the Tzibur HaCharedi. And one of the things is the influence of the outside world on our tzibur. What does it mean, our tzibur? The Jewish tzibur, the Jews that want to live like Jews would not just keep Jewish folklore and even keep mitzvahs and put on tefillin, only they want to live with the pnimius that a Yid is supposed to live with, and look at life like a Yid looks at life, and look at all aspects of life like a Yid is supposed to look at. That tzibur, which there is left a very big tzibur that wants to be that way, and they call it by a name Charedim, as if it's some group, some cult, some organization that they call themselves Haredim. But the real name is Jews, not Haredim, Yehudim. The Gemara says in Megillah, Kalak Ish Yehudi Hoya B'Shushan Habira. Really, Mordechai was from Shevet Binyamin, but it's called Ish Yehudi because he was a kofar b'avodah zarah, and we're soon going to talk about that. Somebody that's kofar b'avodah zarah is called a Yehudi. It's not called a Haredi, it's called a Yehudi. A kofar b'avodah zarah, there's a group of thousands and thousands of Yidden in Eretz Yisrael and in America that they're kofar b'avodah zarah, and they're called Yehudim. And nowadays they changed the name to Haredim, and it sounds like it's a party, a group, a political party. And Rahman al-Islam from that dies. But it's our fault also. Now, Reb Tzvi Meir makes a test tefillah every year, gathers together the tzibur, and it was this year, it was on Monday after Pesach and after Sukkot, and everybody got a big tzibur. They'd go to his sichos, goes to talks, and they come and they say the whole Tehillim, and they say some slichas, and then davar mincha marv, and it's all matzah, and on the different tzaras that we're going through. And one of the tzaras is the influence of the Chiloni world on our tzibur. Now, I don't feel it so much, but something happened that made me feel it a little bit. And Reb Tzvi Meir sent out a letter to all those that have any connection with his base medrash. A long letter of 10 pages. And he wrote what the purpose of this gathering is. And he wrote that it's to be mispal on the tzaras. And one of the tzaras is the outside influence of the Chiloni world. And he writes towards the end of the letter that we have to see to it that we should build walls around our tzibur and our houses, that no influences of the Agoisha world should come into our houses. And he says, and no kalim means iPhones and things like that are not kerotzen of Inish Hashemayim. And also to be mispal, he says that everything has to do with chinuch, and he says, "V'kol masha nogeh lahadibur," he says, the way we talk, that anybody who can should not let in any language that comes from the Chiloni world. He wants to go to a bigger extreme, not even to talk with their language, which means Ivrit. And I mean, it's very, very extreme. We can't. It's ein rovat tzibur yochol lamud bo. That's the real truth. Tzibur can be amid in such a gzeira not to talk Ivrit. It's impossible. I'm sure there are secret kavshi derachmona why Hashem made it to be this way in the Dorachon. But this is the Metzias that we have to talk with their language. But of course, if you could, those I can, he says, and he's right, not to talk with their language. They're free. Somebody wrote a whole sefer on the showing all the mistakes, how Ivrit is not really Hebrew, it's not really Lashon HaKodesh. So
well, many... Rabbi Kaplan.
What?
You're referring to Lashon Kolavecha?
No, I mean, Lashon Kolavecha, I think, also comes from that sefer, I forgot the name of it. You gave it, you lent it to me once. Somebody wrote a whole sefer, no?
Yeah, okay.
On showing and a lot of things I can't remember. Now, I remember one thing I do remember, that Nof, in modern Hebrew, means a view. Har Nov, the mountain of a view, and really it means a branch. In real lesson, like it means a branch. Yeshadi Nofu Basar Ikara, the Gemara in Shabbos Tav Dalet, and the Gemara in Mark is the end of the second parak, and Nof means a branch. It's a different thing. And a lot of things, it's their line. But once they made this language, we have no choice. We have to talk in it. But it just shows you. And the truth is, I feel whenever I can talk Yiddish, if I'm in a situation where I can talk Yiddish, I'd rather talk Yiddish than to talk Ivrit. Really. And but it happens. This is also a whole talk in itself that you have to talk about. Sometimes you talk to somebody in Yiddish, and then a few minutes later he goes back to Ivrit. I mean, but don't you see that I'm from a different? I mean, can't you hear, according to my accent, according to my Yiddish, that that it's natural by me? And so, what do you go by? I'll tell you a story. I was in Kiryat Sefer on a Shabbos a few months ago, and Friday night I went to eat by my niece, that means my sister Alea Shalom's daughter, that lives in the part that's called the Hefziba, whatever that is. And I ate by them, and there was a big simcha by them that I ate by them. That means my niece and the husband is called my nephew, I guess. Now, to get back, I was going to sleep by my brother Havner, which it's an hour's walk. Some people told me it's 40 minutes walk. I guess for some people it is 40 minutes walk. So it didn't sound like so much. I said, okay, I'll do it. And I'll go to my brother to stay by him the rest of the Shabbos. Okay, so now I slept by my brother. In the morning, I got up and davened. So I saw the father of this nephew of mine in that neighborhood, which is an hour's walk away. And their name is Melinovsky. They're B'nai Braker. So I went up there. So before davening, I saw him. So I said to him, in Yiddish, I said, ich habe gegessen bei Sohn bei Nacht. I ate by your son last night. Oh, yeah, by my Sohn. He said, oh, yeah. And I said, and he walked me the way. Yeah, good, very good. Okay, then after the davening, he comes up to me and he says, Ma, az ben sheli halach itcha kol haderech. I mean, don't you remember that 2 hours ago I talked to you in Yiddish and you could see that my Yiddish is perfect. So can't you continue talking Yiddish? No, he forgot. He's so... I mean, that's a whole talk in itself. That's called not paying attention. That's what's called not paying attention. And it's a certain sickness by a lot of people. Baruch Hashem, I don't have that sickness. Hashem should help me to pay attention to what's going on. Mamish, to really pay attention to what's going on around you. So I'm saying like this, why did I talk to him in Yiddish in the beginning? Really, that's a small story. I'm full of small, little, minute stories, but from this you built up a life. I'm saying, why did I talk to him in Yiddish? Because I knew, he told me that he learned in Brisk, and he told me that if he learned in Brisk, so he's a Yiddish-speaking person. So, even though he's a B'nai Braker, so I talk to him in Yiddish because I like it more. I feel more Hamish. I feel more Verzeitisch. That means from the olden time, I feel more connected to the old country that was before the Holocaust when I talk Yiddish. But what can you do? But it's getting lost, and there's nothing you can do about it. But anyway, but I also have a feeling that what Rab Tzumer says, Lo ledaber klal, mishaefsha lo yoch v'yochol lo yedaber klal besofa shelohim. Okay, now, what I wanted to talk about is this little story. This line that Reb Tzvi Meir said, Lo ledaber basofa shelohim. So there's two things. One thing is the language Ivrit, which is a language that the Rishonim made up. Mamish made up, because there are hundreds, literally hundreds of words that are not right and that are used in the wrong way. According to the real Lashon Kodesh. That's one thing. Second thing is there's a language. There's a certain language. Every group develops a language, how you talk. There's like Lamoshel. The B'nai Torah talk, let's say American B'nai Torah. They talk English. We talk English, but the English is a lot mixed in with languages with words from the Gemara, words from Chazal, words from Psukim, words from Jewish surroundings. It's a language. Like then there's every group has their language. I one time saw a woman from the Datilumi people. A young woman that were together with her friend, another young woman, on the bus. And when one of them got off, the other one said, "Shalom Eshet Chayil." I never heard such a thing, not before and not after. Of course, when I to hear language of women, she said, "Shalom Eshet Chayil." Like she called her friend an Eshet Chayil. Like that was a way of departing, of saying goodbye. Every group has their language, so has their way of talking. That's why I always say that it's hard to live with a baali tsuvot. I'm not married. I'm a garush. Now to look, I don't know what'll be with my life. Will probably stay like this until I get to Har Menuchos or be Mekabel Pnei Mashiach. But the meanwhile, one thing I say, you can't. Somebody that came to Eretz Yisrael like me in the 60s and learned in Kamenetz can't live marry a baali tsuvot. It's l'shonenu einu makir. What did the Saramashkim say to Paro by Yosef? That Yosef, he says, he was posher the chalamas. Yeah, he knows how to be posher chalamas. But he's a ivri, says the Saramashkim. Vishomi tonu nar ivri. What does Rashi say ivri? L'shonenu einu makir. He doesn't talk our language. What's the problem? You can't teach him. So let him be posher the chalam. Give him a job, and you'll teach him. You'll send him to Ulpan. To a mitri Ulpan. So send him, so don't give him his position right away. Let him learn the language. But it's so hard. You see that he's smart. Obviously he's smart. So let him learn the language. And I'm sure in 2 weeks he can learn the language. So I said, what's the big problem? The answer is, yeah, he'll know the language, but he won't know the slang. He won't know the way people use things. He won't know how people express themselves. So that's l'shonenu einu makir. Saying like this, like moshe, it's a ma'aseh shahaya that I know that a person said this life. You can't say that. Well, because he learned in a yeshiva. So when he said you can't say that, it means that doesn't make sense. It's not logical. In yeshivas, when you say you can't say it, it doesn't mean you're forbidden to say it. It means that's not logical to say such a thing. So the language in the yeshivas is you can't say it. But whether it's English or Yiddish or Ivrit, you can't say it. It means it's not logical. It doesn't make sense. Or it doesn't fit with the Gemara. But when it comes to English, to outsiders, that l'shonenu einu makir. So they say, what, you can't say it? I can say whatever I want. It's democracy. It's a democracy. I can say whatever I want. Stupid. What do you mean you can say whatever you want? But it has to make sense. So that's called l'shonenu einu makir. Because every group has a certain language, how they talk and how they express themselves. Now, there's a certain language how Chilonim express themselves. And we want to build walls not to let their influence come into us. And I'll soon explain why. We don't want to talk with that language. All this is an introduction to the story I want to tell. It's more than an introduction. It's a very important idea that I'm saying over here. And the story that I want to tell is like this. There was a group of young boys that I saw in Beit V'Gam, like 13-year-olds, bar mitzvah boys, that they looked like they come from the group that we call Haredim. And they were coming out of a cheder or yeshiva kitana, wherever they learned their place where they learned. They were coming out. And they went on Rehova Pisgah into a candy store. There's a new candy store there. So they went and some bought something and some didn't. Some didn't have money and they didn't buy. Now, those that didn't buy, so one of them asked the other one, could you give me a little bit? Could you share with me? So the other one gave him a little bit. So he said, אחלה, give it, I said to him. Now, anybody in America that hears this won't understand at all what I mean, so I'm going to explain. He used this chilon, mamish chiloni word, אחלה, give it. Now, because it's like saying, if you want to translate it into English, I think that the translation would be, you're an amazing person, or better say, you're an amazing man. Now, and that's that's pure Chiloni language, pure. So you might ask, so what? He said two Chiloni words. The thing is, yeah, you're right. He said two Chiloni words, but how does he know it? Now the truth is, I have to be mishvada in front of the people, the listeners. How do I know it? So that's right. You're right. I shouldn't know it. It's right. I also shouldn't have known what it means, but it happens to be that you pick up, you read rags. There's in Eretz Yisrael, there's such a thing as what I call rags. That's like there's certain like small newspapers that they put in their mailboxes, which are mainly made for advertising, and they put in the mailboxes for free. So I call it rags. And I'm pretty sure that another 20 years everybody's going to call it rags. And nobody's going to know that it came from Daniel Kaplan, this word rags. But okay, Adam lo zacher so isha miskinahu Shlomo Melech says. But it doesn't matter. But from there I picked it up. Maybe. What kind of business do you have? You could say to me, what business do you have to read rags? What do you care? Yeah, right. But what can I do? So the translation of this expression that this boy, he wanted to express thanks to his friend that he gave him some candies. So he said, Ata Achla Gever. With him, you're an amazing man. Now, the word, this slang, Achla, I don't know where it comes from. I'm interested, I'm curious. I don't know where it comes from, but I don't know. I imagine that it comes from Arabic, because I don't know, because we live with Arabs in this country. It probably comes from there. I'm trying to think, what could it mean? Achla, what? Chala, maybe chala. It's chal, or maybe chala, or maybe, I don't know what. It means it's like in English saying amazing and gever means a man. In all the muvanim of when you say a man, what it means. So I'm asking, where did this boy get that word? And if he did pick it up from someplace, why should he use it? Okay, so you heard it, but keep it a secret, keep it to yourself. And an evil pal, also you're going to use. Of course not. I hope not. Let's hope so. You never know what's going on in this generation. But so why should you use Chiloni language? And I'll soon talk about why not. Because you picked it up from someplace. That means there's a pirza in the mechitza that's separating between us and them. Pasuk says, we say in davening every day, Ki chizek brichei shoroich. He strengthens the locks on your gates. Your children are blessed inside of you because you have gates and they're locked and they don't let outside influences into them. That's what makes a blessing for Bonaich Bekirbech. And Baba Nasena Rabbim, those gates and those brichim that lock the gates are weak and they let it in. Now, and the word gever, the אחלה probably comes from Arabic, and the Chilonim use it. And the word gever, Chilonim also use it. The Medrash says someplace there, a man has 5 names: Ish, Enosh, Odom, Gever, and what's the other one? Ben Odom. There's Odom, there's Ben Odom. Gever probably means, now the truth is, and this is again an example about how the Chiloni world was Mesaris, the language, and they took out all meaning from it. In fact, they turned it upside down because I just remember it says Hine kechen yevorach gover yirei Hashem. The Lashon HaPasuk is mashma that the word gever and the yirei Hashem go together, and I think that the word gever means that he's miskaber al yitro. Somebody that he's strong. Hezel gibor hakavish es yitro. He wants to do something. He controls himself. He wants to say alei tzones halashon hara. He controls himself. He wants to eat more than what he has to. He controls himself. He wants to talk to in the middle of learning. He controls himself. He's misgaber on himself. He's sitting on the bus. He doesn't pick up his eyes and look all over. He controls himself. That's what gever means. Misgaber Yitro came the Chiloni world and they use it for something else. V'amevin yovin. Now, why should we use such a lashon to say thank you? Is it not wouldn't it be pleasure to say to the Rabbi, thank you, I'm molded to you, that I got something from you? And why use their language? But Baba Nasenu Rabbim, we're living in a time that the mechitzas were nifritzu, and influences come in from the outside. And you might say, what are you making such an issue out of such a small thing? You heard 2 words from a boy, a young boy. But everybody understands the answer to that. But where does it come from? How is it? Why is it? Why is there such a language that's used? And we know what the answer is, Baba Nasina Rabbi. And I want to tell you something. Now listen carefully. I want to say something deep. was just reading a sefer, and during these days of there was Chalamoid, there was Yom Tov. I was thinking, let me look in a sefer for part of the time instead of learning Gemara all the time. And I picked up the sefer Re'ei Emunah, which is a sefer that somebody wrote from the talks of Rav Moshe Shapiro. And Rav Moshe Shapiro, in the years Tafshin Mem Aleph Mem Beis, he gave a long series of talks on Ikrei Amunah, on the Yud Gimel Ikrei Amunah, the Animamins. And they, from the talks, they made a whole sefer. It's very, very good and very clear and such things that we all have to know. I would say that in Mamish, every bocher is mechuyev to learn this sefer, and they should teach it in Beis Yaakov's to the girls. It's Mamish a basic sefer in Emunah. So I was looking, so it says like this. There's something that was bothering me all my years. I grew up with the concept of learning Nevi'im. It's not in the yeshiva where you don't even hear about it. Nevi'im, what's Nevi'im? Who knows anything about learning Nevi'im? Shaya, Yirmiyah, Yechezkel, Treos, or what? Who knows anything? But I grew up with this concept of I have to be makir tova to my father that every shalosh shudas he learns Novi by the table, and the minig Baruch Hashem went over to me and went over to my son Yosef, he does it, and Baruch, and maybe Yaakov Yehuda also does it. So we know Novi, and my brother Ruvi knows Novi from those learning Novi and the Shalosh Shudas. So we grew up with that Novi is part of our Ashkofa and Yiddishkeit. Now, it bothers me very much. You learn Yeshaya, Yirmiyah, Yechezkel the whole time. You keep saying. The Nevi'im are talking about Avodah Zarah. Why are you worshiping Avodah Zarah? Why are you worshiping Avodah Zarah? And it bothers me. Okay, but that was in those days. But why do we have to learn it? Why is it an Indian that we should learn? We should learn about the HR that they had that we don't have, that was killed. And especially the Chazon Ish says in Aigeres, he says, to explain to us, for us to understand the HR of Avodah Zarah is like explaining a blind man what it means colors. Somebody that was born blind, he doesn't know what it means colors. You can't explain it to him. There's no way to explain it to him. So to us, can the HRs have to worship Avodah Zarah? So why do we have to learn Nevi'im? Why do we have to, Shema, say Yeshua, Shavtim, Shema, Malachim, okay, a lot of limudim from it. But Yeshaya, Yirmiyah, Yechezkel, and Treos, what do we have from it to learn about Avodah Zarah, all them? So it's beautiful, Moshe Shapiro explains it. It says like this, and I'm going to say it very big, kids, because it's getting late. Moshe Shapiro explains, Avodah Zarah was our worship, and Lav of those worshiping Hashem is a worship. But there's a big difference. Avodah Zarah means a way of getting my needs and perfecting myself. That means, the Rambam says, Bimei Dar Enush, they made a big mistake. They started worshiping the sun, and they said the sun and the moon is Hashem's messengers to this world. Okay. Now, they worshipped it. What does it mean? It means that they started connecting to it. They started trying to get perfection through connecting to the sun and the moon. Avodah Zarah in the language of Chazal is called Ovdei Kochovim Umazolos. Why is it Kochovim Mazolos? Why Dafke stars and Mazolos? because they are the blueprint, the plan of the world. A person is born under a certain star, under a certain mazel, and I can't go into it now. But that's the plan of his life. The stars were standing in certain positions when he was born. Sun, the moon, the other stars were standing in a certain position, and that influences his personality and his goal in life and the way he's gonna go and what type of thing is he gonna be involved with during his lifetime. Kochovim and mazolos. There is such a thing, and it's in other words, it's called astrology. It's called. Now, that plan, that setup, which tells what your life is going to be like, you worship it. They worshipped it, connecting to those stars, which made them think that by connecting to them, we're going to be perfect according to the plan that the stars determined for us. That's what we're going to be. Interesting. Chazal say in Bereshis Rabbo that it's a famous Chazal. Ein lacha kol eisiv eisiv. Every blade of grass in the world has a malach in heaven that's mako, so he gives him a hit and he says to him, Gadel, grow. What does that mean? So Moshe Shapiro bases on the Maral, Bereshis Rabbo Yud Os Vov. Based on the Maral, he explains the malach in the rakia means the perfect plan for this blade of grass. Should an animal step on him? Should a person step on him? Or should he grow and grow and grow till his perfection? Malach in the rakia has the plan for him. Mako, so he hits him. He says to him, you're missing, you're too small, grow more. He shows what you're missing. And he says, grow, reach your perfection. Malach Amor, I think it's Mazel Baraki I see over here. The Chazal called a Mazel Baraki. Mazel means the perfect plan for this blade of grass and anything else in the world. The Makoso shows him what you're missing. You didn't reach the perfect plan. He says to him, reach it. That's how Hashem made the world. But then they made a mistake and they said, well, if the perfect plan lies in the sun and the moon and the stars, let's worship them. Let's connect to the perfect plan. So they worshipped it. But what is the end goal? To perfect myself, the me, the I. There's a certain little square that it's called me. It's all around myself. And above myself, there's nothing. That's what and Avodas Hashem means. There's something higher than me. I don't care. I'm perfect. I'm not perfect. I have what I need. I don't have what I need. I'm going to connect to something higher. Worship something higher. Be connected to something higher. And be that. The Pasuk in Tehillim says, Osaf says in Paragayin Gimel, Tzur levovi v'chelki elokim la'olam. Hashem is the rock of my heart. That means the nekuda pneumis of me is Hashem. Then my neshama is a chelik elokam ima. I'm going to connect to what's above me. I'm going to become like a malach. I'm going to become spiritual. I'm not worshiping Hashem for what I could get. I'm worshiping Hashem that I should become elevated above my level. I should go out of that little box that I'm living in. That's what the big, big difference between Avodas Hashem and Lahavda Avodah Zarah. In one word, Avodah Zarah is to get, and and Avodas Hashem is to elevate. And according to that, we understand why we have to learn so much. When we learn the Nevi'im, that they killed the Yetzirah of Avodah Zarah, means they killed that form of worshiping the perfection of ourselves. But they didn't kill that Yetzirah of looking for perfecting ourselves, and that's it, that's the goal. No, that still exists. How could I perfect myself? How could I become better? How could I make my life better? How could I be more comfortable? Gedolei Yisrael, they were some were poor, some were sick, but they were always happy. They were always besimcha. I don't know if there was anybody more besimcha than the Chazon Ish in his time. He wasn't a healthy person, and he was weak, and he was poor, and he didn't have children, which is Yisurim in itself that we don't even understand, because we all have children, so we don't understand what it means. And he didn't have that. Nobody knows why. There are different rumors about why, but it's not yeah. And he was, I would say, you hear the little bit of stories that you hear, it sounds like he was mamish a happy person. He was besimcha, he felt good. He had a sense of humor also, like you see from the stories. Why is that? He was connected to a higher place. Through a limud that Torah of shows ritzufas for so many years, hours and hours, 5 hours straight, 6 hours straight, days and weeks and months and years. He wasn't here in this world. He was connected. He was here in this world, but he was connected to a much, much higher place. The same thing, the Chavetz Chaim was the same thing. And many Gedolim like that. And the truth is, it might be a mistake to talk about Gedolim, big ones. And what about us? Us also. Take a Toshus and learn it and work it through and go it over and over again and analyze it and take it apart and think about why it's like that and what are the sources. In those minutes, in that half an hour, you're connected to a higher place and nothing in the world means anything to you anymore. And that's what we are striving to be. Now, somebody lets in their language, lets in the language that means, and I forgot to say, and that's why when we learn Nevi'im and we learn about Avodah Zarah, of course that form of Avodah Zarah, of worshiping the Baal, of bowing down to the Baal and screaming, Abal Anenu, like the Nevi'ah Abal Be'Leon Novi, we don't have that anymore. But this Yetzirah of being closed in my own shell and always thinking about what can I do to be better? How can I be happier? Why am I not happy? If I'm not happy, who is it to blame? And if it is to blame, how should I treat the person that I'm going to blame? And how should I live with him? And what could have been and what could have been? And living like that, that's our Avodah Zarah. What about, let's say you failed and you wasted your life and it's somebody else's fault. Let's say it's your father's fault. But today, I could worship Hashem. I could worship the Ein Sof. I could connect to Ein Sof by what? By davening HaShachris, by saying Yehish Me'Rabba. So what else? What else do I need? What else? What do I care what happened and whose fault it is? The Teretz is we're idol worshippers also, and the Navi meant us also, and we have to try to break out of that, and that's why it is important to learn Navi, and it's all Nogea to us also, just in a different surah, a different form. That's what I'm saying. To talk their language, to Achla Gever. And to use the language that they use, that means you're opening up, you're making a crack in the wall that separates those that their goal is perfecting themselves, and those that their goal is connecting to the Ein Sof, to Ruchnis, becoming Malachim. And you're saying, no, man, there is something over there. They have a world. They have entertainment. They finish working hard all day. They sit in and there are ways to entertain yourself. Opening up a crack to that poison, to that tumor, to that evil. And that's the problem with saying Achla Gever. You might think, what are you being such an extremist? That crack, yeah, you have a crack that'll let in a poison. You're drinking a glass of water, and there are a few drops of poison will fall in from someplace. You're going to continue drinking that glass of water, and nobody will do that. That's the problem with that. And our goal is to try to stop up those cracks. We have to try to feel simcha in the matzah we're in, and in the opportunities that Yiddishkeit gives us, and not dafka in becoming a Gadol b'Yisrael. In saying a Yehishmei Rabbah, where are we connecting to? By saying one Yehishmei Rabbah, we're connecting to the one that says, Oili shechravti es beisi. Hashem hears our Yehishmei Rabbah, and he says, Oili shechravti es beisi v'sarafti es eicholi. We're living in the world, in the history of Klal Yisrael, in the biggest events that happened to Klal Yisrael, we're connecting to, and we're arousing a feeling in a Kabiyocha Hashem himself that he should have made the whole plan different. There shouldn't have been a Churban. We're connecting to Gula. We're connecting to Losid Lobo. Ashreinu Matov Chalkeinu that we have all this. And we have to see to it as much as we can to cut off from the outside influences and to be mekayim the posik Beirach Banayich Bekirvech.
Wow, Amen v'Amen. Rabbi Kaplan, thank you very much.